Dear students, how are you? I hope you are fine at home. Today we will read a new chapter 13, and the name of the chapter is The Financial and Banking Systems of the Government of Bangladesh. Okay students, open your book and follow the lecture. Before starting, I will introduce you with the chapter and give an introduction. The government of Bangladesh has an important role in providing security for the life and property of the people of Bangladesh. The defense of the country, the running of administration, the economic development activities, and in public welfare works, the government spends a huge amount of money to play this role. So, in this chapter, we shall be informed of the sources of income of the government of Bangladesh, the heads of expenditure, and the bank management. Now, we will go. Firstly, we will know about the public finance management. So, what is public finance management, or what do you mean by public finance management? The public finance management is one of the important branches of the economy. Every government's important branches is public finance management. Generally, the public finance means the policies and methods regarding the income and expenditure of the state. I repeat, public finance management means the policies and methods regarding the income and expenditure of the state. In this connection, we can give a definition of Professor Dalton. He says, public finance is concerned with the income and expenditure of the government and with the adjustment of the one to other. I repeat it again. Public finance is concerned with the income and expenditure of the government and with the adjustment of the one to other. So, we can say, in this branch of economy, all types of income, expenditure of the state, loan and investment related problems and the issues of their solutions are included. Now, we show a diagram. The public finance. Three things are important for public finance. Firstly, one of the important branches of economy, the policies and methods regarding the income and expenditure of the state. All types of income, expenditure of the state, loan and investment related problems and the issues of these situations are included. Now, we'll read an important topic, the source of income of Bangladesh government. The government of Bangladesh spends a huge amount of money to accomplish public welfare, in running the administration and for socio-economic development. Though the government spends a huge amount of money, the government has also earned a lot of money to meet these expenses. The sources of income of Bangladesh can be divided into two parts. Firstly, tax revenue, and second, extra tax revenue. Now, we can see what is tax revenue. The income which is received by the taxes imposed on people and on various business, firms and industries by the government is called tax revenue. And what is extra tax revenue? The government of Bangladesh collects revenue from many other sources besides tax and duty. The revenue earned from these sources is called extra tax revenue. So it is clear what is tax revenue and what is extra tax revenue. So student, previous slide We knew about what is tax revenue and what is extra tax revenue. Now we'll go the sources of tax revenue. The sources of tax revenue is the income of the government of Bangladesh. So firstly, the first source is the customs. The main source of income of the government of Bangladesh is the customs. And second, the excise duty. The tax which is imposed on the goods produced and used inside the country is called excise duty. Third, income tax. It is an important source of income of the government of Bangladesh, and it is clear to all that the tax which is imposed on the personal income of the people is called income tax. Repeat it. The tax which is imposed on the personal income of the people is called income tax. Fourth, value added tax. The value added tax is usually known as VAT in the tax system of Bangladesh. Fifth, supplementary duty. The duty which is imposed on some goods in addition to the custom or excise duty or VAT is called the supplementary duty. Sixth, land revenue. The tax paid to the government for the possessions and use of land is known as land revenue. Seventh, non-judicial stamp. The government earns a huge amount of money from the stamps used for various documents and applications regarding judiciary, passport and exchange bills. Then 8. Registration. The registration fee is paid for deed registration and the court fee is paid for lawsuit. 9th, vehicle tax. The tax paid for the registration of vehicles is called the vehicle tax. Wine duty. The government earns some money by imposing duty on wine, gaja, afim and from many other drugs. 11th, electricity duty. The government has income from the electricity duty too, and now we will discuss about other taxes and duties. Besides the above mentioned taxes and duties, the government earns more taxes and duties mainly from recreation tax, property tax, duty on petrol and gas, duty of foreign tour and irrigation tax and its machinery, etc. So now we will know about extra tax revenue. We know that the income source of Bangladesh government is divided into two parts. Firstly, tax revenue and second is extra tax revenue. Previous slide we knew about the sources of tax revenue, and now we will know about the sources of extra tax revenue. Dividend and profit. The government gets dividend and profit from various financial organizations such as bank, insurance company and various non-banking financial organizations like park, zoo at the end of the year. Second is interest. The government gives loan to various financial and autonomous organizations. Some income comes from the duties received in this regard. Third is the economic service. The government also earns through giving some economic facilities of the people. Fourth, the general administration. The government of Bangladesh earns various types of fees for providing administrative services. Fifth, the railway. Though railway is a source of income of government, there is often defect in this sector. The postal department. Since the postal department of the country is run by the government, it is also a source of government income. 6. 7. The telegraph and telephone. Since the telephone and telegraph system is run by the government, it is another important source of the government's income. 8. The forestry. The government also earns a lot of money from the forest areas of Bangladesh. And 9. Toll and levy. The government earns worth mentioning amount of money in the toll and levy head. Toll is a kind of revenue which is unlike the taxes imposed on income. 10th, rent and lease. The government also earns through renting and leasing government property. And lastly, fine, penalty and forfeiture. The government of Bangladesh earns an amount every year through fine, penalty and forfeiture. The government of Bangladesh comes a lot of money from the sources mentioned above. Now we will discuss the expenditure of Bangladesh government. Bangladesh government earns a huge amount of money from tax division, tax revenue and extra tax revenue, and he also spends huge amount of money for the development of the country. So now we will discuss the heads of expenditure of the government of Bangladesh. The government of Bangladesh spends a huge amount of money on the socio-economic development, the construction of infrastructure, the human resource development, and on the poverty alleviation. Now we will see some sector of the expenditure. Firstly, the first and important sector of Bangladesh government of expenditure is defense. This is one of the main heads of expenditure of Bangladesh government. The Bangladesh government spends a huge amount of money regarding the expenses of giving the salary, allowance and other facilities of the officer of and employees of the defense sector. Second, the civil administration. It is also an important sector and Bangladesh government spends a worth mentioning amount for the operation, development, salary allowance for the employees of various ministries and divisions run under their control. The education. It is an important sector of Bangladesh government. Bangladesh government spends a huge amount of money for this sector, and the government has to pay a huge money of in the recent times to free the country from the curse of illiteracy through expansion of education. Health and family welfare. The government spends a huge amount of money on heads like setting up hospitals and medical colleges, preventing various infectious diseases, population control, child and maternity welfare, etc. Payment of loan and interest. The government has to take huge amount of loan from home and abroad for development works of the country. The agriculture, fishery and livestock. The government of Bangladesh spends a notable amount of money on these heads every year. The police, Ansar and Bangladesh Border Guard. The police and Ansar forces are essential for maintaining law and order situation and keeping peace inside the country. Again, the Border Guard has been formed in Bangladesh to protect the border and to check smuggling. The Judiciary and Jail Division. A huge amount of money is spent on the salary and allowance of the officer employees of the Judiciary and Jail Division. Public work. The government spends a huge amount of money on public work programs every year. Revenue Division. The government spends a big portion of the revenue to meet the expenses of income tax, customs, excise, land revenue division. The foreign affairs. The government has to spend a huge amount of money every year to establish a relationship and operate embassy abroad to protect the interest of the country outside. Retirement allowance and other facilities. The government has to spend a huge amount of money every year to give retirement allowance and other benefits to the retired officers and employees. The social welfare program. The government has to allocate a huge amount of money every year for the social welfare activities like elderly allowance, widow allowance, etc. Unexpected expenditure. Every year the government faces some unexpected situation and he has to spend enough money to solve emergency situations created by the natural disasters. And last, other heads. In addition to the above mentioned, the other heads where the government spends huge money like secretariat, the accounts, fuel and energy, mine, production and construction. We know Bangladesh is a developing country. The government of Bangladesh has to spend a huge amount of money every year on the heads of mentioned above. So, the number of money, new heads and the amount of expenditure are gradually increasing every year. So, dear students, today